I hate being hungover. The anxiety, the regret, the inevitable, whoa, who is this guy? Oh, never mind, it's just a chick. Now, I don't know about you, okay? But some hangovers are so nasty that they can only be appeased by more drinking. And that's what this episode is all about. Bitchin' hair of the dog cocktails and some greasy grub to coat your pickled guts. Oh, squishy those guts, huh? I bet you haven't done a single sit-up in years, you lazy drunkard. I'm telling you, if you don't change it...
All right, that's enough.
First up, chicken fried steak with peppercorn gravy, served with a Smoky Chipotle Bloody Mary. Next, we're making cornmeal pancakes with a zesty orange-infused maple syrup, and we're pairing that with a pineapple-cilantro martini. Panos talks about tenderizing round steak.
Pound it real good.
The spice agent reports on horseradish.
We'll be talking about hangover cures, Granada style.
Hans debunks hangover cure myths.
And I'll introduce you to Hans' patented hangover system. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4!
And Nadia, here we go again. I'm Nadia G, and this is Bitchin' Kitchen. Freaking on. Back in Shakespeare's day, they believed that if you placed a few hairs from the dog that bit you into your wound, it would help cure it. And surprisingly enough, studies have proven that if you do place dog hair into a bite wound, you'll die of gangrene. But for some reason, if you apply this metaphor to drinking, it does take the edge off. Food helps too. So we're gonna start with my favorite hangover dish, chicken fried steak, smothered in peppered gravy, paired with a Smoky Chipotle Bloody Mary. Let's get cooking. Felt a bit nerdy. We're gonna start by making the breading for our steak. In a big bowl, mix a 1/4 cup of milk with 3 egg yolks. Dry ingredients. Here I got a cup of flour. Throw in 1/2 teaspoon of chipotle powder, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano. Make sure you squeeze those spices between your fingers. He releases all the essential oils, like you don't know that by now, huh? Here I got a pound of round eye steak cut into 4 medallions. With a meat mallet, beat the out of this steak until it's a 1/4 inch thick. While I do that, here's Panos with more on tenderizing round eye.
The old meaty round eye. It definitely needs a good pounding.
Ρεζόν, είναι και παιδιά που μας κοιτάνε.
Steak, Angie, steak. I'm talking about steak. As I was saying, it's a lean cut. It doesn't have much fatty marbling, so it can be a bit tough. That's where the meat mallet comes in. Pounding the steak does 2 things. Makes it more tender by breaking down the fibers, and makes it thinner, so you have a nice meat to crispy breading ratio. Round eye was my grandfather's favorite cut of meat. He was a cheap bastard. Physically abusive, too. Back to you, Nads.
Thanks, Panos. Now for the fun part. Well, fun. It's fun to get paid there. I mean, eat it. Dip each steak into our egg mixture. And then in the seasoned flour. Back in the egg, and back in the flour again. We want these to be nice and crispy. Now fry these in a couple of tablespoons of canola oil over medium heat for about 1.5 minutes per side. Wow, look at this breading, and it's gonna be a perfect medium.
Did somebody say medium?
Not now, Hans. When we get back, we're gonna finish these chicken fried steaks and wash it all down with a smoky, spicy Bloody Mary. Stay hungry. Welcome back. Now, we all know that hair of the dog isn't a cure. In reality, you're just getting drunker. Man, this one time, this story's so embarrassing. Okay, a while back, I had an important meeting with my publishers. So the night before, I spent it preparing. And by preparing, I mean getting mashed. The hangover was horrible. So what do? I knock back a couple of mini bar beers before the meeting. I get there, and here we are, about 10 VIPs sitting around a massive table. Introductions are made, the cookbook is discussed. So far, so good. No one's noticed I'm not actually in my body. Halfway through the meeting, the head publicist starts telling a story about how she met Jamie Oliver. She goes, "So I went up to Jamie and I said, 'Hi, I'm Amy.' What do? In a haze, I stand up in front of everybody and I say, 'Hi, I'm Nadia,' and shake her hand." Everyone was mortified. I guess in my state, I thought she was introducing herself to me, despite the fact that we'd been in a meeting together for over an hour now. The good news is, Cooking for Trouble is an amazing cookbook. Buy it now. You've never seen a cookbook so good. Buy it now. Let's finish up these chicken fried steaks, huh? Gravy time. Here I got 2 tablespoons of the oil that we fried the steaks in, and this stuff's full of flavor. What we're gonna do is add 2 tablespoons of flour and keep stirring it until it smells nutty and becomes a nice golden brown color, about 2 minutes. This is a roux, the stuff that thickens gravies. Smells like nuts to me. Now, whisk in 1.5 cups of beef stock, tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. You could use any vinegar you like. 1 teaspoon of freshly cracked peppercorns, and a pinch of cayenne pepper. I'm gonna use a big pinch. If you're a wimp, you could use less. Bring it to a boil, and then what you wanna do is turn the heat down to low and let it simmer for about 3 to 5 minutes until the gravy is thick enough to coat a wooden spoon. Perfect. Just keep it warm and that's our chicken fried steak done. But greasy grub can't squash a hangover on its own.
Did somebody say hangover? With Hans's patented hangover system, you'll never accidentally wake up to a ladyboy again. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4! 1 painkiller, 2 glasses of water, 3 bites of bread, 4 ounces of orange juice! See? 1, 2, 3!
Let's make our Bloody Mary. Grab a lowball glass, and using a fresh lime wedge, rim it. Then dip it in some celery salt. Ding! Throw in a couple ice cubes, 2 ounces of good vodka, a teaspoon of chipotle and adobo sauce. You can find this at any Mexican grocery store. What it is basically smoky chipotles that have been stewed in tomato sauce loaded with garlic, onions, spices. Add 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce and a teaspoon of freshly grated horseradish. And mix it up. Ah, right in the eyeball. And here's the spice agent with more on horseradish.
Thank you, Nadia. And just so you know, part of the proceeds from today's spice will be going to the YNANC fund. That's right, the Yecheskel needs a new car fund. Really, Nadia, I need a new car. So pretty please, with an avocado on top, don't forget to send check to me. We'll just blame the first couple of seasons that you forgot to pay me on a friendly miscommunication. Anyway, today my report is on horseradish. Not to be mistaken with horse addict, which is a growing trend which started in Ra'anana Beach, but is slowly making its way inland. Horseradish is a perennial plant, part of the Brassicaceae family, which also includes mustard, wasabi, broccoli, and cabbage. It grows up to 1.5 meters, which is like 5 feet tall. Never mind. And is mainly cultivated for its large, white, tapered root. Cooks use the term horseradish or prepared horseradish to refer to the grated root of the horseradish plant mixed with vinegar. You know, Nadia, in Ra'anana, there are many ways to cure hangovers, such as Tabasco with hummus and warm pita, a meeting with your divorce lawyer, and last but not last, hey, you know, Nadia, some of the reasons I had to quit drinking, well, there were some naked dance parties in my roommate's closet, or the late-night laboratory project where I tried to build a machine so I can clone Shachar, my goat. But the real reason I had to quit drinking was that every time I would have a couple of whiskey eggplant, I would wake up with a bad case of STD. It's true. Every time I would wake up with a bad case of skip this day. Why? What are you looking at me like that? What did you think I meant by STD?
Oh, you're great,
Yecheskel Mizrahi.
When we get back, we're gonna plate this chicken fried steak, stuff our faces, and suck back this Bloody Mary. Just suck it back.
Suck it back?
Yeah, suck it back. It's fine. You can say that. So the egg lights one up, looks at the chicken, and says, well, I guess that answers that question, huh? And we're back. With every year that passes, I may be getting younger on the internet, but the fact is, the hangovers are killing me, man. One of the worst parts has got to be the nausea.
Did somebody say nausea?
No, no, no!
Oh yeah! With Hans's patented hangover system, no more spending time with the toilet bowl. You can spend time with friends.
You pay me for this, huh?
For only $9.99, less than a bottle of water at a nightclub, you can own the secret to drinking with no hangover. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, that's enough. Our Bloody Mary, we're gonna top it off with some tomato juice. Squeeze a fresh lime in there. Then skewer some pickled goodness. I got a stuffed olive, a gherkin, and I even added a nice piece of dried chorizo. You could use salami di Genoa, whatever you like, even a big chunk of ham. It's up to you, right? And a celery stalk, not the dehydrated celery stalks. Let's plate this dish. Okay. Here, I got some mashed potatoes and some bitter greens. Add our chicken fried steak and smother it with our gravy. Buon appetito to me. This is just fantastic. The outside tastes like fried chicken. You've got a nice, juicy, thin steak in there, and this peppercorn gravy. Just, you know what I'm saying? Let's drink some Bloody Mary. Woo! This Bloody Mary is just delicious because you've got the smokiness of the chipotle in there. The fresh horseradish makes all the difference. I'd get drunk all over again in order to be hungover so I could drink this. Next up, a personal favorite, cornmeal pancakes with zesty orange-infused maple syrup. Now we're gonna start by making our maple syrup, so in a saucepan, add 1 cup of real maple syrup. Now if you can't afford real maple syrup, you may wanna consider canceling that cable. Wait a minute, no, because then I'd be out of a show. Never mind. Use that sugary stuff, huh? It's all good. The juice of 2 large oranges, the zest of those oranges, and 1 star anise. You're gonna bring this to a boil over medium-high heat. Once it starts to boil, turn the heat down to low and let it simmer for 15 minutes. Strain it through a wire mesh sieve. Now this goodness over here, all this orange zest that's been marinating in maple syrup, so delicious. Don't throw it out, keep it, use it as jam. You can like create little balls and cover them in dark chocolate. Fantastic. Pancake time and dry ingredients. Here I got 1 cup of flour, add half a cup of cornmeal, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of sea salt. Wet ingredients. Here I got 1.5 cups of buttermilk. To that, you want to add a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, 3 tablespoons of canola oil, and 1 large egg. When we get back, we're gonna finish up these cornflour pancakes. I'm gonna make a bitchin' pineapple-cilantro martini and tell you about how I deal with hangovers. So stay bitchin'. For me, a hangover is divided into 3 stages. Stage 1 is when you first wake up and you're like, wow, I'm not even hungover. You convince yourself that you'll not only go to work, but you're gonna ask your twit boss for a raise and make that spinning class. Basically, you're still drunk. Then stage 2 hits you. Well, it doesn't just hit you, it beats you into a feverish, anxiety-ridden pulp. You realize that, maybe you won't be making it to work. In fact, after last night, you may not even have a job. And then there's stage 3. I love stage 3. That's where you've accepted that you suck at life and snuggle in for a comfy evening of D&D, diazepam, and documentaries. 2 words for you. David Attenborough, man.
That's 3 words.
Shh. Let's finish these pancakes. Plop the dry ingredients into the wet and mix it up just until it comes together. Don't overmix. Now, in a non-stick frying pan, add about a 1/4 teaspoon of olive oil. Get it going on medium and use an ice cream scooper to plop in some of our mixture. You want to cook this until the sides begin to set, about 2-3 minutes. Then flip them over and cook for 1-2 minutes more. Now here's some advice. If you're not gonna eat the pancakes right away, keep them warm in a 200-degree oven on a cookie sheet. Also, never stack your pancakes until you're ready to serve them. They lose all their fluffiness. It's a trick.
Did somebody say it?
If you order in the next 15 minutes, you'll get my secret tip on how a pinch of salt in the water replenishes the sodium you lost and helps you feel even better. Order now!
Hans, it's not a secret tip if you just...
4!
Never mind. Luckily, it's time for a cocktail. Now, I'm a champ when it comes to drink recipes. They say write what you know, so check this out. We're gonna be making a pineapple-cilantro martini rimmed with sweet and spicy chili salt. To a blender, add 1 diced pineapple, 1/4 cup of water, and 2/3 of a cup of sugar. Puree for 1 minute. Now add 3/4 of a cup of fresh chopped cilantro. Give it a stir. And put this in the fridge for a couple of hours. This way the cilantro infuses that pineapple juice. Even better, leave it in the fridge overnight. Be proactive. You can make this the night before, put a barf bucket near your bed, and you're golden. Strain this through a fine wire mesh sieve. Oh, you can really smell that cilantro. You see this gorgeousness right here? Don't throw this out. You can use this as jam. Throw it out. We're gonna line this baby with chili salt, and we're making our own. In a food processor, add 4 tablespoons of fleur de sel. You can use regular sea salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of piment d'Espelette. This is a fancy French chili. It's absolutely delicious. But you can also use smoked paprika, crushed red chilies, cayenne if you really hate yourself. Mix. Look at this gorgeous color. Rim the glass with some lime, and then dip it in our chili salt. To a cocktail shaker, add some ice, 2 ounces of premium vodka, about 2 ounces of our pineapple-cilantro juice. Shake it up. See, professionals don't need to look when they pour. Let's plate this dish and drink this drink, or drink this drink. Grab a plate, add some of these fluffy pancakes, old fluffa cakes. A dollop of whipped butter, the salty stuff, and pour on our orange-infused maple syrup. Let's eat. We got the salty whipped butter contrasted with our sweet and zesty orange-infused maple syrup, these fluffy pancakes. You can really taste the corn flour. It reminds me of cornbread a bit. Time to drink. This martini is excellent. You've got the spicy, salty, sweet rim, fresh pineapple, and the cilantro really complements the herbal undertones of the vodka. It's good stuff. We squashed hangovers in this episode of Bitchin' Kitchen. Chicken fried steak, cornmeal pancakes, and those 2,
2, 3, 4!
All right, I'm done. A la próxima! You better tell Hans.